This is Follow Everton. A few different time zones. It's about 3:30 in the morning for me. It's probably about lunchtime for you, Chad, and a nighttime Saturday fixture at the Molineux. Kind of a bit different for this time of year.
Yeah, it's exciting, and an 8 p.m. kickoff in the UK. That's kind of fun. How's everybody feeling about it?
And so I will say we're enthralled. We're super excited. We're in a comfortable position. Wolves aren't doing that well. 3 points. We're pumped for Molineux under the lights.
I don't know. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, I guess. Yeah, you know what? Chris, I'll be honest. I'm not feeling. I'm not really excited about this one. I don't know if it's. The lineup just feels. I know we've gotten results. I know we're unbeaten in 6. I hated not seeing Alcaraz in the squad today, and I know you'll probably put up the lineups. There we go. Thank you so much. So yeah, Dukes is back in. A guy who we already said we are not renewing his contract unless they sign him to a new deal at lower wages. So no, I don't know. I was kind of hoping we're ready to like pivot towards the future, and it certainly seemed like the club was heading in that direction this week with the appointing of the new CEO and identifying we're going to move away from the director of football structure. So I guess I was just I'm already looking towards the future. So the idea that this match feels very much like a fixture of the past or the very modern day present. I don't know, a little bit of a letdown for me. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, look, Abdoulaye Doucouré still serves a purpose. Does it mean it's brilliant on the ball? No. Does it mean pressing high up and having high energy when he's on point? Yes. But it is ironic in a way that it's the week of, as you're saying, we're not going to renew his contract. We, thank you for your services. Absolutely. But if we're talking a time for the future, this is just that awkward transitional game. Get it done, move on, and we'll see Charlie and Eric Boonham more often than not throughout the season. But it seems like Doucouré is pivotal right now in the Moyes structure as he was under Sean Dyche.
He just doesn't. I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing my hands up. I know we win games when he plays for the most part. He offers managers a lot of what they like: pressing, enthusiasm. He'll also wind you up, which that is nice. He will celebrate. Do I sound okay? Charlie Brown says it looks like something might be up with my mic.
Yeah, it might be a bit of crackling coming through on the mic. I could hear you, but yeah.
Is it bad? Let me, let me go down. You hold down the fort. I'm going to switch over to just my headset.
Okay. So Chad will switch over there, but I'll go through the starting lineups here. So we have very, very much unchanged. I think it's no changes at all since the last fixture against Brentford. So Pickford in goals, O'Brien right back, Tarkowski and Branthwaite through the middle, Vitaly Mykolenko on left. We'll have Lindstrom and Harrison playing on the wings with Idrissa Gana Gueye and James Garner as a pair in the central midfield. Abdoulaye Doucouré likely to play either as the fifth midfielder or as a supportive, the number 10, who's there pressing in with Beto, who's generally in form. He just didn't convert his chances in the recent week. We again lack depth on the bench with João Virginia and Asmir Begovic both out. Nathan Patterson for the second week in a row on the bench, which is nice to see. Same for Yusuf Chamiti. Michael Keane, the ever-available striker replacement late on in matches. We have Ashley Young as a wingback, or usually comes on in the second half of matches when we're trying to assure up a result. We have Seamus Coleman back on the bench, which is nice to see, at least his availability coming back up. I imagine I've been hearing that he's been training, so good to see he's at least making up the bench. But at the same time, the two players that you'd like to see on a match like this would be Charlie Alcaraz and Tim-Eric Boonham, both of which are on the bench. No sign of McNeil or Iliman Ndiaye on the bench either, but not exactly a surprise, Chad.
No, and hey, sorry for my mic issues, everybody. I'm glad to be back on with you. I hope you can hear me a little bit better now. No, I think this is what we all would have predicted. I certainly would have thought a manager like David Moyes is going to go with, the tried and trusted Abdoulaye Doucouré. Everything else we knew was going to be unchanged. It'll be curious to see how Beto does today. Had he been in form, or did he just kind of have a little bit of a lucky streak? You wish he would have put away a couple more of those goals last time out. I'm hoping for more good things from Beto today. Thanks, Danny. All right, so we'll see. It was exactly what we would have predicted. We are very thin. It's nice to have Chermiti back. I think we could probably look forward in the coming weeks to maybe getting a few healthy bodies back in the side. It looks like DCL is still a bit away. McNeil is still a bit away, but Ilman Ndiaye is getting closer. Patterson is now healthy again, right? Seamus is kind of building back his fitness. Who else am I thinking? Who am I forgetting here? Is that it? I think that's everybody. Oh, we are thin.
So we've talked about our strikers. We've talked about
and Broja, and then Armando Broja will come back at some point.
Depth for sure. I think my internet might be cutting out at 3 a.m. in the morning. So if that continues, Chad, you may have to cover. I'm not sure what happened.
That's fine. Yeah, sorry, but this is a bit of a comedy of errors. This show.
No one's awake at this time. It's a bit weird.
I don't know. Maybe Maybe somebody's playing Fortnite or something, taking all your bandwidth. Hey, well, I'll check in real quick. Looks like we have 66 of you on. I wasn't expecting a super big audience for this one. We know it's a little later in the day for you over there in the UK, but hey, we appreciate you jumping on and joining us to follow Everton. Looks like Ryan is in the background, made a few comments. I saw Ryan. If you want to jump on, you're more than welcome to come and give us your prediction for the match. But we appreciate all 69 of you now that have jumped in and are listening in. So we are at Wolves today, hoping for 3 points, pushing us further away from the relegation zone up into mid-table. I think we have all the momentum on our side, and Wolves are just not a quality team right now. So I'm certainly thinking that 3 points do look like they are in the cards today. At minimum a point. I can't see Wolves getting a clean result against us. So we'll see. Chris, any interesting comments in that we've seen so far coming through?
Yeah, let me sift through some. Appreciate the mic feedback. Let's see. Yeah, Eugene saying that we have a few players still out injured. It sounds like it's touch and go for Ilman Ndiaye coming back, which would be really exciting. Peter Duggan. I'm not sure I'm as confident as Peter, but when he's confident, he's very confident in the team. So that's a good thing to see. I think Peter nailed it. Without Cunha, they are just not the same team. They're not a good team with him. So I can't imagine them posing much of a threat today. Everton have been very solid defensively. This game, Wolves are going to want to ugly this thing up, and then just try to scrap for as many points as they can get. They're in their own relegation scrap. So I think we're going to see a very ugly conservative match today out of them. And I think that's gonna fall right into our lap. I could see, us playing Beto through, trying to create something there. Doesn't look like we have much, wide right now. So yeah, I would imagine look for, James Garner to Beto up the middle. Hopefully when Alcaraz comes on, he's able to kind of provide us with a spark. So I think that's where we're going to see most of the action taking place. How do you see us attacking these guys today, Chris? I think exactly through the channels, really. And that's really, yes, as you heard midweek, Moyes shot across the bow saying, you need to start scoring and assisting or you're not going to play at Everton. So yeah, they'll certainly have their options out wide, but I think it has to be through the channels. The other option, if it is going to be a rough and tumble fixture, I could easily see it being a centre half winning a corner or a tap in off a scramble as well. But honestly, I can't. Without Cunha, it's a bit like Carlos Tevez in those seasons at West Ham when they got up through the sheer brilliance of one player pulling them up, and with him having no control over his kind of passion, rage, and getting red carded the way he's doing, it's not helping him. So. Yeah. Let's see. There was a question real quick on the Thelwell leaving at the end of the season, Chad, and I think we have we don't have a director of football anymore. It's kind of changed structure, but to say that I really know what that's going to entail, I don't. I'm not overwhelmed with how Thelwell did, but I'm also not sure it was really his fault. So it's weird to have too much of an opinion because you just don't know. And now we have someone from Leeds who's going to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be the saving grace? Well, he seems to have handled the finances of going down to the championship and a restructure, but they're not back up. That doesn't scream impressive for me either.
Yeah, the thing about structures, I think we all get hung up on structures. What it really comes down to is personalities. Structure is great because in any well-run organization, you want a clear definition of roles, right? You want everyone to understand what their role is. They don't step out of it. And then that way, you can hopefully build something sustainable and you have accountability at every level of the organization. So what we're moving away from with Kevin Thelwell moving away is we're moving away from the model where he would have ideally the largest voice in any kind of personnel organizational conversation. What we're moving to here is now we're opening ourselves up for our new CEO Angus to have him weighing in on football matters. We're opening up now. David Moyes having an even greater voice and personnel footballing matters. Some would say that would be welcome. And then there's going to be a committee, it looks like. And with any committee, with any groups of people, there's going to be people jockeying and, kind of trying to pull for power and for their own, I don't know, they want their voice to be heard. So it really just comes down to the personalities involved. I think we've been in positions before where Bill Kenwright, certainly shouldn't have been expressing himself from a footballing perspective as much as he has, and probably got us into some trouble. Farhad Mashiri, certainly being influenced by agents in the past, was pushing his own footballing agenda, and we're not letting people like Marcel Brands, make their own choices and define the direction that they thought the club should go. So yeah, I don't really care about the model as much. I think I liked Kevin Thelwell. I think I liked a lot of what he tried to do. It's been written everywhere that he was incredibly handcuffed in his time at Everton. I would have liked to see what he could have done with some more budget. But we move on, and then we'll see how this new. We'll see how all the new adults in the room kind of want to how they want to take this.
Yeah, I think the most important thing, and it kind of ties into Mr. Blue Skies' comment here, that what Moyes wants has an impact on the structure. Is it Dan Ashworth? Is it David Weir as a director? All we know is that David Moyes has an influence on the recruiting strategy in this new setup. Instead of it being, well, Thelwell's in charge, Moyes, you figure out the starting 11, which is what Moyes was really asking. And if it doesn't work out, the Friedkins will restructure, sack, go again. So,
Chris, do you find it odd? Let me ask you this. So do you find it odd that a few months ago, it was widely reported that the Friedkins' preference was that Sean Dyche held on to the job throughout his contract, finished the year, and then there would be a rebuilding of the entire squad, coaching staff and all in the summer. Because that did not look sustainable, because it looked like Dyche had nearly given up and knew he wasn't able to.
The room.
He lost the room. So they had to make a pivot in their strategy. They went to David Moyes. David Moyes has brought some incredible results. But do you find it odd that in a 3-month period, we've gone from TFG wanting essentially one thing, which could have been a Graham Potter type had he not gone to West Ham. But now we're going in the David Moyes direction and almost giving, handing David Moyes the keys and say, okay, pick your backroom staff, pick your footballing operations staff, pick your scouting department. It seems odd that just in 3 months' time, we've almost turned over the entire direction of the football to David Moyes when he wasn't probably their preference for next season just a few months ago.
Yeah, and you might be right that David Moyes wasn't the replacement that they wanted, but it's a replacement that we needed. And we know that in times of peril, at Roma, they go to trusted figures to get results, and David Moyes has proven that again. So if that is really important to the Friedkins, and so far, yes, it is, then you want to have in Moyes we trust to some degree. But on a long-term strategy, if the second you have to bring in Moyes for 3 years, you realize that if you want him at the club and you don't want to lose the fan base, you need to have him involved in some way. But that doesn't mean that you have a director of football that doesn't, I don't know, just takes over and says, Moyes, but you're not going to be involved. If he wants to be involved, it's a collaborative effort, and you can still move on beyond David Moyes. But are we truly then saying, unless if it doesn't fit in the Moyes system, we don't bring them in, or is it a broader pool of players? Because when you think back, we brought in a whole bunch of different styles. Some didn't land under David Moyes the first time, but we're trying to have a broader capacity with scouting networks through South America, through I think Norway is a big focus. So, I'm not that worried.
Yeah, Peter weighed in, and I dropped the name Graham Potter. Not that he was the preferred candidate of the Freakins before his move to West Ham. I just think he is the profile that an owner like the Freakins would have wanted to pursue. Someone a little younger, someone still tested in the Premier League. But the idea of going to a 60-plus-year-old manager to start a rebuild is just not something that we see. It's just not something that is commonplace in football. So going to Moyes, despite his connection to the club, despite his relative success that he's had throughout his career, it's still just a little odd to me that in 3 months' time we would turn over all of the plans to David Moyes and say, okay, now let's do it your way. Especially when it seemed like there was some real organization being built here. With the scouting networks, as you say, it just seemed, from a science and from a science perspective, a lot more there in the sports science realm with Everton. So it's just interesting. I think Kevin Thelwell was trying to build something, and at some point he must have just read the writing on the wall and said, it's not going to happen for me at Everton, and has decided to I don't know, make a move for MLS or where he's going to go next. I guess we'll see. But to kind of tie a bow on it, I like Kevin Thelwell. I wish him all the best. I thank him for doing all he could to keep this team up over the past few seasons, and we'll see where he goes.
Yeah, I don't think all signings are guaranteed to be slam dunks, but honestly, I think he did the best in a bad situation, and you can have some decisions are good, some are bad. And now let's turn our attention back to the game, because we've got 12 minutes before kickoff. So do we want to do some score predictions before we go on air? We've got before the match goes live. Sorry, I've got the referees. They're down the bottom on the ticker for anyone that wants to have a look. But I'll scroll through and see if I've got some predictions. I think I saw a 4-0 from Duggan, but let's see if I can see some other ones. And Eugene says, get your score prediction for Wolves in, folks. Wolves v Everton tonight. Wolves 1, Everton 4. So expect goals, but Wolves to score at least one. Thanks. A better hat-trick and Decore, which wouldn't shock me. The physicality of, I guess, attacking too, because wingers don't count as attackers if they don't contribute in the assist and goals, do they? So Decore and Beto is the thought there. Do you see those two being the main avenues? I think we said yes. Those are the goal scoring.
Absolutely. There's nowhere they're not. It's not coming from anywhere else. I can't imagine it coming from anywhere else. Mate. Except for unless it's going to be something like a Jake O'Brien diving header, which if he wants to start doing that every game, I'd be perfectly okay with that. It's something has to happen out wide. We cannot go the rest of the season without a single scoring contribution coming from Lindstrom or Harrison. It's like mathematically impossible that something
Mikalenko has more assists now.
I know. It's just like accidentally one of them should get a goal or an assist at this point. I cannot imagine a world where neither of those players register a goal or an assist for the duration of the season. So I'm going to say that yes, we will get something from them from the wide areas. I'm hopeful that they start getting balls into the box and are very present out there. Also provide that work rate that Jack Harrison is certainly capable of doing, and we've seen an improved effort from Jesper Lindstrom in that regard. But yeah, the best opportunity for goals today, we mentioned it's Beto, it's Abdoulaye Doucouré's activity, and then probably a set piece, something like that. We have some big lads in the back, so I would say that's probably outside of Beto. That's probably our most likely option to find goals.
Yeah, I think back to, it must have been 2 seasons ago when there's a season when Doucouré got that 1-0 at Bournemouth. I'm always hopeful, Wormy. So when Michael Keane, about 1 or 2 matches before the end of the season, he assisted Yerry Mina in the box in one of those scramble games at Molineux and got us a point. I could see a goal like that coming in today. What's funny, though, I don't see anyone predicting a low-scoring affair. So you think there'll be goals as well, Chad? I guess that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen, what was it, Peter predicting 5. Here we go, here 6, blue skies, 6 goals. That would be entertaining. I won't be bored with it. Give me a 4-2 Everton win. That sounds great to me. I could see a world where we see lots of games. I could also see this being a 1-0. But why not? Wolves were dreadful last time we played them. So I hope that's the same team that shows up for this one. And I hope we can, a nice, comfortable 3 or 4-0 sounds really, really nice to me. I would love a nice, comfortable win on a Saturday evening. Oh, Chris, I can't hear you. Chris is going to try to figure that out. We're a couple minutes away from kickoff. 8 minutes, I believe, says my time on my computer. Get us your score predictions. Chris is going to jump back in real quick and probably give us his last one. Here is Scouser 66, Everton 3, Wolves 1, Beto, Doucouré, Lindstrom, all score. Up those toffees. Peter, where are you at? If we get an early one, then I'll be 4 out of 5. Then I think then, because they will collapse. I think you're right. I think Wolves are mostly defeated. I've seen some terrible body language out of that team when I've seen them play in other fixtures this season. And without Cunha in, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of belief in that dressing room today. So we'll see. We'll see how they come out. They might come out with some enthusiasm and some pride and decide that this is an opportunity for them to gain points and pull themselves out of a relegation scrap. So we'll see. Chris, you get that audio issue figured out?
I hope so. Am I coming through?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, great. I think 3-1 is probably the right call on a day like today. Strand Larsen still has the ability to get results, and Ayat Nouri on the left, but they seem thin. They seem out of sorts. And you know what? We took them to the sword when they were at Goodison when we weren't playing very well. But then again, Wolves have the ability to surprise us when we think we should beat them as well. So nothing's for granted, but they're not in good sorts, and we're not on all cylinders, right? But we aren't losing fixtures either. I think 3-1.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm going to go a nice solid 2-0, 2-0 to Everton. I think we get a brace from Beto. I do see an assist coming from Harrison or Doucouré, or Harrison or Lindstrom. So I think we'll get some kind of goal contribution from a wide area today. So I'm going to say a nice, easy 2-0. We've probably hit the post or the bar a couple times too, where it could have been 4 or 5, but I'm going to say a nice, easy 2-0. And that sounds nice. I'll probably have a glass of wine while I watch it, and it'll sound pretty good to me. All right, Chris. So you are on. So you are in the middle of the night in Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you're gonna be on. You're gonna stick with us, and then you're gonna be back for post game. Is that right? Post-match?
Yeah, I believe Corey will join me.
Okay, great. So if you're on today, if you're one of our 134 with us right now, stick with Chris and Corey. They'll be with you for post-match. I may jump on if I get an opportunity to do so, but hopefully we're celebrating a win. All right, any final thoughts in the comments, or Chris, anything else that we should talk about before we get out of here?
Honestly, there's a lot we can talk about the future and the setup, but we're not going to do that in a couple minutes, and I'm not sure we're going to have answers for a while on how well we do with the new setup. So outside of that, I think there will be goals, and hopefully it's 3 points as well as goal.
Oh man, that would be great. We should get together for one of those midnight blues, and we could just kind of catch up on all the news when we're not trying to either preview a match or recap a match. We can just talk about kind of Everton at large.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We'll have to try and schedule that for sure.
Yeah, well, it's different now. For those that don't know, we're on very different time zones now. So I'm on East Coast time in the United States. So New York time, as you might see it when you set your iPhone. Chris is many, many hours away from that. So us doing a show together is a little tougher. Chris is a champion. Emma called it. Chris is a champion.
I'll take that. Thanks, Emma.
Chris went to bed early for us, popped probably a few melatonin, went to bed early for us, woke back up, and now he's ready to go. That is a true blue right there.
Yeah, a toffee blue. All right.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get out of here.
Get set up, guys. All right, up the toffees.
Up the toffees.